Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today, yet again, we are getting into some immigration related news that came out of USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and of course the Department of State. Before we begin, I'm going to mention, like I mentioned in every video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in my videos on this channel is directly from the official government sources, like U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and of course the Department of State. If you have any questions along the way, post them in the comments below, and every week, I try to do it at least twice a week, I go through all of the comments, all the immigration questions, and I make a video like this where I answer the question one by one. It's called Answering Your Immigration Questions, and they go by volume. Currently, there are 24 volumes that are uploaded on this channel. So, without further ado, let's see what is new. First, from USCIS. So, gives me a good opportunity to show you some navigation. As always, I like to demonstrate that. As you can see at the very top here, the navigation menu, there's a newsroom. So, we're going to click on that. And if you scroll down, there's all USCIS news. Now, obviously, we'll get into March. At the end of the March, but for now, let's take a look what new came out of the February. So, a few things, a few important things on the USCIS side. First of all, USCIS clarifies February 2nd, 2023. They clarified the physical presence guidance for asylee and refugee applying for adjustment of status. Basically, once you get your asylum status, once your asylum is granted, or once your refugee status is granted, once you maintain that status of an asylee or a refugee for 1 year, you can apply for the adjustment of status. You can apply for permanent residence. And I did get quite a few questions about that actually. Do I need to be present in the United States in order to apply for that adjustment of status? And this is the answer directly from USCIS. Effective immediately, which is February 2nd, 2023, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has updated guidance in the USCIS policy manual to clarify that both asylees and refugees must have been physically present in the United States for 1 year when we adjudicate their Form I-485 application to register permanent residence or adjust status, rather than at the time they filed their adjustment of status application. And that is why whenever I talk about asylee status in general, refugee, whenever it comes to if you are in that immigration process, I always recommend during that 1 year, I do not recommend traveling at all while you have the asylum status pending. When it was granted, yes, you can definitely apply for a refugee travel document and travel and so forth. But I do not recommend doing that. Why? Exactly for this specific reason here. And it wasn't the case. Now that it is clarified, it makes it a little bit simpler, because now you know that you actually have to be present in the United States for a whole year physically before you can file. So if let's say you've been out of the United States for 2 months and then the whole year passed since you were granted the asylum status, and then you apply for the adjustment of status, your application is not going to be approved. Why? Because out of that year that you've been here, 3 months is out of the year you've been out. Very, very important. So keep that in mind. In general, I do not recommend traveling. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is because just because you have a refugee travel document, for example, if you're traveling with asylum status, it does not guarantee your re-entry into the United States. Keep that in mind. Alright, February 8th, we had the update to filing location for Form I-360 and Form I-485 for self-petitioning, abused spouse, children, and parents. Starting February 10, 2023, self-petitioning, abused spouse, children, and parent must file Form I-360 petition for American Asian, widower or special immigrant, widower or special immigrant, and Form I-485 application to register permanent residence or adjust status at the Nebraska Service Center instead of Vermont Service Center. So if this is applicable to you, Keep that in mind. Now, on February 10, we had the reminder to submit all required initial evidence and supporting documentation, including Form I-693 for Form I-485. Again, very important. If you do not submit the required initial evidence with your application, it doesn't mean that your application is necessarily going to be denied. USCIS most likely will give you a response. They send you a notice saying that, hey, we received your application, but this, and this is missing, so we're waiting for that. And that creates a delay. And I do get a lot of questions about this. Can I submit the application and not submit the evidence right away? You can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. But if you have the opportunity to just maybe take another week to put all of it together and send it all together, overall, yes, you're spending extra week, but overall, you are saving time because it takes more time for USCIS to look at your application, see that the evidence is not there, send you a request for the evidence, so far, so forth. You get the point. All right, February 14th, Valentine's Day, we got another update from USCIS. USCIS updates Child Status Protection Act, CSPA, age calculation for certain adjustment of status applicants. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has issued guidance in the U.S. Policy Manual to update when an immigrant visa number becomes available for the purpose of calculating a non-citizen's age in certain situations under the Child Status Protection Services. Again, if that's applicable, definitely look into that. February 22nd, USCIS issues clarifying guidance for individuals authorized to work under special student relief provisions. And then on February 22nd, there was some kind of maintenance that was done to the website, so some of the tools were not available. So not much in the month of February from USCIS. However, we do have some important news. Yeah, I would say some important news from the Department of State, and I have the newsroom for the Department of State open here. We're gonna go into U.S. visas news, and the only thing in February 17, it's the only thing, but it was a very important one. Basically, Department of State, their assistant legal advisor for consular affairs, met with the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and they do once in a while, a few times a year, they do get together basically for a meeting where American Immigration Lawyers Association, people that are representing the American Immigration Lawyers Association, can ask questions. And there is actually a question answer PDF document attached here. If I do not forget, hopefully I don't forget, I'll put it the link in the description below. And if you do have an immigration process, especially family immigration, this is it right here for you. If you have a form I-130, if you started a petition for alien relative, these are the news for you, because this talks right here about the numbers in general, about the NVC processing, how long it takes, how long it is supposed to take, some of the questions. I mean, there's a lot of pages, so I'm not gonna go through all of these in this video, but I definitely, if you do have the petition for alien relative, I definitely recommend looking into this. For example, can NVC confirm how many cases were completed in 2022 compared with the previous years? And as you can see, in 2020, 321,000. In 2021, 342,000, and in 2022, 343,000. So there was a pretty substantial improvement in the year 2021 over 2020, because obviously in 2020 we had some serious delays caused by all the stuff that was happening in 2020 and 2021. In 2022, it's sped up just a little bit more, so hopefully we can expect the same in 2023. So there is a little bit of speed up whenever it comes to the processing. Can NVC confirm how many cases have been completed so far in 2023? So far, there were 140,000 cases. So pretty good. What is the monthly volume of immigrant visa cases that the NVC processes? And as you can see, on average during 2022, NVC performed case creation for nearly 14,974 immigrant visa petitions, received 20,000 ELIS petitions from USCIS, and reviewed supporting forms and documents for another 72,000 72,337 immigrant visa cases. One of the questions here I wanted to point out, very interesting. You see there's a monthly volume for immigrant fiancé visas. So they go into very specific, very specific questions. This is the very interesting that I wanted to point out. This F question right here. AILA, that's the American Immigration Lawyers Association, understands that appointment scheduling is done by consular post. Okay. Can NVC report on average how long it takes for a documentarily qualified case to be sent to post for immigrant visa scheduling? I get this question a lot on this channel. So here you go, an answer directly from the Department of State, directly from them. So person to 9 FAM, whatever their regulations, internal regulations, posts generally strive to schedule immediate relative and non-immigrant K visas interviews. Immediate relative and non-immigrant K visa interviews. So fiancé visa, as you can see, K visa. I've done a separate video on that here on this channel if you're interested to look into it. Within 30 days. They're supposed to, by their own regulations, within 30 days. And current family and employment preference cases within 60 days of the receipt of all necessary fees, forms, documents, which means you are documentarily qualified. Once the NVC reviews all of that and they say, okay, you paid this, you submitted all your financial documents or your sponsors, your joint sponsors, all the good stuff like that. Once they get all of that, you're documentarily qualified, you are approved. Now they're transferring your case to the embassy where you are going to be going through that very final stage, that interview. Well, pretty much the final stage, because there's still a few minor things to do, but that's like the most important thing right there. So as you can see, immediate relative and even non-immigrant K visa, 30 days, and then current family and employment preference, 60 days. All right. And yeah, I would definitely recommend going through the whole thing, because you will find some very specific, as you can see, for you have 601A waiver, if that applies to you. You have the priority dates, you have the communication, civil documents, affidavit of support. So for each, even the tech issues. So there's a lot of information in this PDF document. These are the answers, and they were as recent as February 2023. So let me know in the comments below if you have any questions regarding the information that I mentioned in this video. If you want me to make these videos a little bit more detailed, obviously if it's going to be more detailed, it's going to be longer. So as of right now, I'm thinking maybe I'm better off to just pointing you in the right directions, right? And if you see something that applies to you, you can do more research. Or I can take another approach and just go through everything with as detailed as possible. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.